John Michael writes, "Hey guys, love the show. Keep up the great work. I have two questions. Will there ever be a superhero film that wins a Best Picture at the Oscars? And if so, what would Batman vs. Superman have to do in order to win? Thanks for all you do."
I think there's a couple things you bring in consideration when you're talking about a superhero movie. Like everybody knows the other year, Avengers was my favorite movie of the year, my absolute favorite. Yes. But I had no qualms with it not winning Best Picture at the Oscars. I thought maybe it should have got a nomination, but no qualms with it not winning. Why? Because sometimes there's a difference between what's your favorite and what you kind of sit back and acknowledge is maybe artistically the best. And when you're talking about films like this, when I talk about Best Picture anyway, and this is all subjective, but for me, I want to look for the complete package, right? I want to look for acting, the directing. I want to see the real good progressive narrative. I want to see the cinematography. I want to see the great editing. I want to see all that brought into one big package. And Avengers, while it was my favorite movie of the year, there were some of those things that it was kind of weak on. But I do believe that a comic book / superhero movie can. The Dark Knight showed us that it can. I think The Dark Knight was like one or two small flaws away from legitimately being a Best Picture nominee. And actually, I've talked to a number of people who are voting members of the Academy, and a lot of people did vote for it. I mean, so I think that movie proves it can happen. Not every superhero movie should be a Dark Knight. A lot of them should be Avengers. They should be lighter, more comical, not take themselves so seriously. But you can get those like The Dark Knight that I think at some point, maybe in the next 6, 7, 8 years, maybe we'll see one legitimately make a run for Best Picture. Mark, how do you see this? Have you seen a film that you think maybe should have won a Best Picture? And do you think it's possible that a comic book film could do it?
I think The Dark Knight was obviously the closest one, but also you look back to when Lord of the Rings, the last film, I believe, won and got nominated for a lot of things too. And so I think that that may have started to skew more towards the fantasy realm.
Like the genre of films.
But you got to get snubbed before you actually win something. I think that's what the Oscars teach us over the years. And so with The Dark Knight, people wanting that to get more recognition than it did, it's just tough to come up with a character because, like you said, a lot of things are more like the Avengers, where it's nothing wrong with being more fluffy and entertaining, but that's what a lot of superhero films are. So I think it's going to have to go down that dark path and maybe a more unknown superhero like a Preacher or Sandman or something like that.
Which we know people are working on right now. At least they've been trying to get those going
forever
for a very long time.
Put that in front of Zelda, please.
Christian.
I agree with you, John, in the fact that what The Dark Knight did was that it made it possible. Because before The Dark Knight came out, no one would ever even considered that question because it just wouldn't, there were no contenders that you could really think about. Maybe Superman back in the day because of what it did, you know, the first one, Richard Donner. But yeah, it's possible, but it's also going to be hard because it's going to be very hard to get Aquaman nominated for just for that reason alone, the giggles. But in regards to whether or not
people would be laughing
and nominated Aquaman, it just doesn't work. But
Best actor Steven Seagal for Aquaman.
In regards to what Batman and Superman would have to do in order to win is honestly, and I'm not saying this is a joke, is not have Zack Snyder as the director of it, and that's because he is always, everyone thinks he's visual first, and there's no story a lot of the time, and no character development, and that is not going to win you an Oscar. So
right. No, I agree with you. When getting to that, and I'm glad you addressed that. Getting to that part of the question is, what would Superman, Batman have to do? I think what Superman, Batman would have to do is completely break the tone that it's already set for itself, and I don't want it to do that. I mean, they've already kind of set the tone in Man of Steel. I like the tone they have in Man of Steel, and I like the fact that they're bringing Batman into it. For it to be considered, it would have to completely break away from that and go in a different direction. I don't know that I want it to do that. I think you're right. I really like Zack Snyder as a director, even though, I mean, there's a couple of his films, Sucker Punch.
Yeah, but it's style. He makes things look pretty first.
Oh man, I've always said, if you put on Sucker Punch and hit mute,
looks great.
I can watch that movie all day.
Well, in the action scenes with I mean, give me some Led Zeppelin and some cute girls with some cannons. Yeah, I'm on board. I think with Superman versus Batman, or Superman and Batman, I don't see that having a prayer.
No, I agree.
Anywhere around the Academy. I mean, first of all, Superman has to have lines this time around. He's got to actually talk words.
I think it needs to be a smaller movie, is what it is too. A small, like a smaller, maybe like, you know, if you do something like not Blade per se, but you know, along the lines of a Blade budget, something of that, or a smaller unknown superhero like Mark said, then you got a shot.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.